All right. So Jason, you're up in Franklin, New Hampshire. Tell us a little bit about your business and all that you do up there.
Yeah, so I started my business in 2017, and I just wanted to powder coat my own bike. So I went and started with the Eastwood gun and the Eastwood little oven box. And
Really started that way, right? Just a
that's
kid,
good.
right?
I started doing
Yeah.
like my brake levers, anything that can fit in that little oven. I tried it, and it was right in my garage at my house. So hopefully, everything turns out. I'll be like Steve Jobs, and be a multi-trillion-dollar. But if that ever happens, that probably never will. But regardless, that's where I started, and I learned real fast that things weren't big enough. The blaster wasn't big enough, the oven wasn't big enough, the gun wasn't good enough. So then I upgraded, and then I moved over to another shop and grew from there. And then where I'm at now, which is ironic, is my Meme and Pepe lived on the same road, and so my mom he grew up on this road where my shop is, and right across the street is a cemetery. Um, so like I like to joke with people. I says, hey, my neighbors, they don't say much.
That's good neighbors to have because they complain a lot. Well, it's funny. So I guess could you not find anybody in the area to powder coat when you were?
I didn't even look at that. I just wanted to.
Or you just want to do
I
it
just
yourself?
wanted to do it myself. So pretty much self-taught everything that I've done. Now I can do all kinds of different two tones, three tones. It's just a one-man shop here. It's just me. Occasionally I'll have my son help out, or my wife, or some people kind of exchange work for powder coating. But other than that, yeah, it's been going really well, actually.
What were you doing before that, though? What were you
Well,
working at before?
I worked over at Watts Technology, Watts Water Technology. I was a CNC maintenance guy. So I started in 2017. I just went full time in June of last year. So I was working a full time job and doing my business, and it just was becoming too much. I was working all the time, and I hate to say it, even with my business being full time now, I'm still doing the same thing.
Right. Exactly. Yep. You're the one doing it there with that. Did you like doing it? I mean, did it kind of grab you? So it is kind of artistry.
Absolutely.
Colors. Yeah.
A lot of things that I've learned is, preparation is 99% of it, and sometimes there's metals that you just can't. You got to find ways to go around it, and those types of when that comes, those are the times when you really need to get something done, and it throws a curveball.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. Yeah. You got it. Yeah. With that. What type of parts are you doing now?
I do a lot of snowmobile parts, a lot of Harley parts, wheels. I've done some pretty unique things. I've done like a gunball machine. What else? Like like a watering pot that goes on a stove.
Right. So really, what walks in the door?
Pretty much, if it's metal, and that's what I tell them. And they say, "Hey, can you powder coat aluminum?" I'm like, "Yeah, if it's metal, aluminum is a little bit harder, but you can still do it."
Right. I mean, and now, like you said, you're full time at this. What I mean, is it something where? Because what do you just have one booth?
Yeah, I have one spray booth. I have a 4x4x8 oven, and I have a 3x4x3 small oven. But last week was probably one of my hardest weeks I've had. Like some chrome was peeling on some Harley parts. I had an issue with my oven, like it completely crapped the bed. So it just made it harder. So now I'm doing small parts in my big oven right now, and it's just not really the best thing. But until I can get it figured out, that's what I'm doing.
Right. Is there a lot of competition in the area up there for? I mean, is there any other powder coaters or things?
Well, I would say there's there was a lot more coming up, but when I first started, there was only like a few, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, they I do all the work for Laconia Harley, and they had a powder coater, and they they just weren't happy with their results at the end of the day. And one of my
Mm-hmm.
friends that worked there, they said, "Hey, he does powder coating," and that was probably 4 years ago. And they, to this day, they still tell me that it's my quality is where it should be.
Mm.
So
Right.
that,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that's what I strive for. And there's times where I redo things, and the customers don't need to know that. You know, they don't know.
Right. 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 Yeah. Well, like you said, you start off doing parts for your own self. You want them to be look. You want them to look good. You
Right.
want them to last. And right.
But at the end of
That,
the day,
that's pretty.
I'm still not perfect, and not everything gets out. But you know what? As probably a lot of powder coaters will probably agree, sometimes it's easier for people to run their mouth instead of going back to the powder coater to fix it. And I think that's where
Right.
the customers have to understand that.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I was gonna say, are there? I mean, you think there's a possibility of expanding it? Like I said, doing some maybe larger batch works. Are there any OEMs up there that might say, hey, we've got 1,000 of these we need to get done, or 500 of these?
Yeah,
Is there a possibility of doing that?
I'm trying to get into that, because that for me, that if I can get that then okay, that's steady income. So then the custom work, can come in instead of worrying, because powder coating, the custom part on it is it comes in different times, and you think that people with motorcycles are like, oh yeah, we'll bring it in the wintertime, we'll take it apart, but they don't. They wait till it's like 80 degrees out. No, I want to take my bike out, so
Mm-hmm.
let's go do it now. Especially because
Yeah.
we're Laconia Bike Week is like
Mm-hmm.
20 miles away from here, so that's where it's like a big rally. So that's when a lot of people want to get their bikes to look good and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely with that. So like I said, you recently kind of made some news in your community, and I think I saw it. I'm in Ohio, and I read it. Kind of a unique situation that you did, which I've never heard anybody uh, apply this type of powder coating. It's actually a loved one's ashes. You're able to put it into your system and coat it. Tell us about how you got started in that and the story behind that.
Yeah, my brother-in-law Patrick Brooks, he had lost his brother from a drug-induced suicide, and he wasn't around when it happened. And when he came back out, he it's like, hey, I have my brother's ashes. I have my brother's license plate. We used to ride motorcycles all the time. He says, you ever thought about putting the ashes in the powder? I'm like, no, I tell you, I would have never thought that. And I says, well, let's just try it. And I powdered it, coated it for him. And when I gave it back to him, I could just see like the happiness and like the joy.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of got his brother back in the plate. And it's just so heartwarming for me, because I,
Mm-hmm.
I probably like a lot of people, but I know I have a fear of dying, and it's sometimes like I just like, what's gonna happen when I die? Like, what did I live my life? Did I, And that's one of the things. Like when these customers reach out to me, and I wonder, like, how was their life? And so after I did that for them, a lady, Desiree Hawkins, her I can't remember exactly his age, but it's either 11 or 12. He was in school and he got bullied to the point where he went home and committed suicide. So
Mm-hmm.
we did the same thing for her. Like his favorite color was pink, and she's like, "I would love you to do some license plate brackets for him." So we did it in pink, and I put that glow in the dark clear in it, and put the ashes in, and we did like it was like a 2-hour drive up in Vermont, St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and we had probably like 40 bikes deliver the plate to her. And again, this is that reason in itself is why I continue to do that. And she was,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. like I said, a lot of people, you have ashes from loved ones and they sit on a shelf. This is a way to really take them with you, right? Especially on, like I said, on a motorcycle where you can kind of get out and your mind's kind of at ease, right? You're,
Right.
the wind's going through you. You kind of feel kind of good, and you got somebody there with you, right?
Right. Absolutely. And like there were some people posting on there. It's like, oh wow, look at what they're coming up with now. Like one of the things that I'm trying to stress for is I'm not going out looking for people to say, hey, I know they just passed away. We want to bring you your ashes. It's it's not about that. It's not about that at all. And for me, I've learned that the people that come to me is they truly value their pet or that person that they're bringing to me. They value them that much so that what they want to keep their spirits alive. And we believe in there isn't no last ride. We're going to continue to ride for the rest of our lives.
Bryce said, "Yeah, you keep riding, keep riding. What a way! Like I said, you're not put on a shelf somewhere. You're sort of
Yeah,
out there going down the highway."
right. So then our dog had passed away, and losing a dog is like losing a loved one. And I was in the process of doing my wife's bike. She has a 2010 black Road Glide, and I'm like, why don't we put some pink in there because she loves pink? And so I incorporated her ashes on the side of her because that's where her dog was all the time, like on the side of her. And what better way?
Right. Yeah. You're not just doing widgets and parts and things. These things are going to be held as mementos to these people.
Absolutely.
For a long time. Right. Yeah. I mean, let me ask you about how did you prepare it? Did you have any special way to prepare it so it got into the coating very well? Or, I mean,
well, it's not an easy. I just put it in the process, and it doesn't all stick to it. But it's just, and that's one of the things that I tell the customer. I'm like, you're not going to get a smooth finish with this.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because you're putting kind of a foreign substance a little bit in there, but I'm sure they're okay with it. I mean, it means a lot more to them with that. But like you said, I guess it cured just as much as just the same way.
Yeah,
it else would cure.
Yep. So I was at an event, and I did because my dog had passed away, and because he used to ride with me in the truck all the time, and that was like his safe spot. So I didn't have a front fender on my bike, and my son had switched out his fender. I'm like, I'll powder coat his ashes. So what I did is I did a white, and then I faded into the blue, like the color of my bike, and then put his ashes all in it. And unfortunately, because my bike's an older bike to my son, the brackets don't line up, so I just have to make some kind of different bracket so I can put that on my bike. No, I don't know if it's something maybe I can send you some pictures to maybe add to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, definitely. I would love to get pictures. We could talk about that. I definitely want to add it because I think it's such a visual, visual way as well to show people. And like I said, so how many of these have you done altogether? Maybe
I would say probably 11, maybe 13.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah. It kind of opens it up that you can do really anything around a home or something that might be powder coated a little bit more, whether it's a garden gate or something where somebody like the garden, I guess they could have that done for them.
Yeah. So
again, instead of just
like you're saying with the garden, one of my customers is he's a metal artist, and his dad had passed away, and his dad loved butterflies, so we made a butterfly, and I kind of did a custom, like a neon green into the blue, kind of the same color as my bike with the glow in the dark, and he loved it, and he put it right in front of the garden, so now he can watch over the garden.
That's great. Yeah, like I said, with that. But let me get back to asking about your. Is this the first business that you've owned yourself,
yes,
or has there been other ones?
Yep.
First one, really? Okay. Yeah. It's a lot, isn't it? I mean, I hear from a lot of shop owners it's a lot more than what they thought. You've got to do the actual work. You've also a coating. You've got to manage your business. You got to pay. Make sure everything's getting paid. Make sure you're getting paid. It's a lot of more work. I mean, what was the most surprising thing becoming a business owner in that.
Well, like for me, in the past couple of years, maybe because around here my business is known, but
Mm-hmm.
I've wasted more time in events to get nothing. I wouldn't say nothing, but very few in return. So it's like I'm trying to for this year. I'm going to try to figure out. I'd rather spend that weekend, getting customers stuff done, or trying to figure something else than to go and maybe get one or two people to say, hey, yeah, I'll give you a call.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I said, yeah, just trying to market yourself a little bit, I guess, and get the word out there of what you can do,
Right.
and those type of things. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, is this something? I mean, there's people that I know that kind of like you kind of fell into this industry, but they really love it because they're putting a really nice finishing touch on something, and they love the industry very much. Is this something you think you will be doing for the rest of your life?
I'm gonna try. Hopefully I can get myself in a position to where I can run it and have people do that. I mean, that would be the ultimate goal. But
Mm-hmm.
if not, I mean, I'm gonna go on as long as, because there's been times where I wanted to just say, you know what, I've had it, and I think a lot of that was because I was working a full time job and trying to come do here.
Right.
My mind wasn't where it was supposed to be.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, like I said, and again, it's not easy running a business by yourself. It seems like it's you're pulled in a lot of different ways. You got to and sometimes you're the only person doing it, right?
Right.
You're the only
Yeah, I'm
person
going up to get the advertising, getting the jobs, all of it.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say and that's what you said is, like I said, pretty much a story of a lot of people who started out with it. I just wrote about somebody who same thing, started out in their garage, and it kind of grew and grew, and before they knew it, it was like, whoa, had to make that choice of whether you're going to dive in and become full time at this, and it's a big decision to make with that. But yeah, definitely. And like I said, do you have any plans of the next over years? Are you adding new equipment, or are you going to be anything you're going to be doing to change or adding more?
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of thinking of getting a bigger gas oven, because where my shop is, I have natural gas, so it kind of gas will, I think, be more efficient than having a 4x4x8. But then on the other hand, I'm looking at I don't want to get this bigger oven because there's a lot of like mini sprints, and I'd like to be able to do vehicles, but I don't want to get into it, 50 grand or whatever it is to try to sponsor. And that's another thing that I learned is sponsoring people doesn't really help your business out at all. I probably sponsored 5 or 6 people, and I think maybe 1 or 2 of the only people that really are there for me.
Right. Right. Yeah, I can say it's not that it's really going to bring. It's good, but it's not going to.
But it's kind of like going to the events. It's kind of the same results.
Right. Exactly. Like you said, and I guess with everything that the stress of what you're having to do, and running your own business. I guess part of it is the enjoyment is when you get in the booth and you start mixing the coating up, and you kind of envision. I guess that's got to be fun to be able to know you're going to go in and coat a part. It's going to come out. It's going to cure. It's going to look fantastic, and that customer is really really going to love it, right? I mean, it has to get your juices going sometimes.
Yeah, I have a lot of repeat customers, so I'm obviously doing something right.